Hey guys, it's Dan, your host, your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for today. This one's going to be doing another ranking video for the Walking Dead universe. We're going to be ranking the top 10 Walking Dead universe characters of 2024. So, this is one that I definitely wanted to go ahead and do. I definitely wanted to talk about these characters because though we may have only had 2 shows this year for Walking Dead, which is a little bit different than the formula that we're used to for the last few years of the Walking Dead. We still had, 12 episodes of TV this year. There were still a lot of characters that stood out to me, and I definitely wanted to go over them. I wanted to discuss them, so that's what we're going to do here in this video. We're going to talk about the top 10 characters this year, for me at least, from the Walking Dead franchise. Obviously, you can leave your list down below, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So, starting things off with number 10, we're going to get started with Jadis from The Ones Who Live. Now, Jadis is a character that I actually think does earn a spot on this list for me this year, mostly because for one thing, it's the last time we're ever going to be able to put her on a list again. Not to mention, Pollyanna does a fantastic job. I really liked her scenes with Michonne and Rick. I liked seeing, her downfall. I liked seeing the flashbacks with Gabriel, getting more kind of knowledge on her and more of her character. And she actually came off pretty intimidating, I can't lie, when she came in that room. And she was like, yeah, well, you need to know that if you try to escape with them, I'm going to make sure that everybody you care about dies, She's always been selfish. She's always been for herself. And I find that very interesting. And her character had a lot of complexity to her. So I did enjoy her quite a bit. Number 9 is then going to be Carol from The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol. Now, I will say this, Carol is only number 9 for me. I know that might surprise people, just because I find that certain times here and there, they give her things that kind of felt like out of character, like, trusting those people in Greenland. There was a few moments that I felt like were a little draggy with her character. The lying got a little, overly done. But in the same strength, I'm going to still put her in the top 10 either way because I do like her reunion with Daryl. I like a lot of the badass moments that she has with Janae. And I genuinely did enjoy, having Carol in Daryl Dixon Season 2. Though I don't think it changed much, I still enjoyed having her around, and her presence was definitely very awesome. Number 8 is then going to be Isabelle. Now, Isabelle, for me, is a very interesting character because though I do think that she's not as utilized as she is in the first season of Daryl Dixon, I will also still admit this. I did enjoy what they gave her. I enjoyed her killing Emil. I enjoyed her fighting back against Lozang when he tried to take her down in the way that he did. A little coward idiot the way he is, And her death was awful. I mean, you guys know my opinion on that. Her death was terrible. But I think her character had an impact still because she hooked up with Daryl. She had those moments with Daryl in the cell that were very meaningful. And I thought her character, though I didn't like how she went out, she stayed true to who she was, and I think she had some great moments with Daryl that, to me, highlighted enough to be in this top 10. So I'm going to put her at number 8. I still really enjoyed Isabelle this season. Coming in at number 7 is then going to be Michonne from The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Now, this is a character that I will say this year for Walking Dead universe was definitely very enjoyable for the most part. I like seeing her trying to find Rick. I enjoyed seeing that. Her episode 2, I thought was one of the best episodes of the series. I thought it was fantastic. I loved her bond with Nat. I loved her reunion with Rick. I enjoyed a lot of what they did with her, and especially in episode 4, kind of working through what Rick was going through, trying to convince him to break out of that, mindset that Rick had, that he needs to be dead and live, you know what I mean, that type of thing. Michonne was an absolute rock star for him, and I really enjoyed her in that. Now, I will also acknowledge minor things that I didn't like. I found she got very cringeworthy with Rick, and I also found that the love doesn't die line to be very, just not good. And I will admit this, they went a little too cringe with her in the final episode or two, but I'll say this, though, still, she makes the top 10, she makes at least my number 7, even over Carol, because her reunion with Rick, because of the relationship with Nat, because of the journey that we saw her go on, and I did enjoy her in episode 4 a lot as a supporting character to Rick, you know what I mean? It's enough for me to, though I still think she has minor problems here and there with some of the cringeworthy dialogue that they have given her, I will still say this, Michonne was a great character for Rick, and I did enjoy their reunion, and I did enjoy seeing them work together, and I think that at least warrants her a spot on this list, in my opinion. Now, number 6 is then going to be Caudron. Now, Caudron, I think, is a very underrated character, as a matter of fact. I think he's great. The only reason that I don't have him in my top 5 necessarily is because I did find him to be underused this season in comparison to season 1, but I did enjoy his story for when he was there, helping out our crew, saving Laurent, getting our crew on the plane, the scenes with Daryl and stuff like that. I thought that was all really great. The only reason he's not in my top 5, admittedly, because I would have put him in my top 5, is I don't like the final scene where he beats Daryl's ass. He stabs Daryl. I mean, I understand they're hallucinating, I get that, but I still don't get why the writers wrote that in. It didn't work at all. They shouldn't have done that to his character. And I hope that in season 3, if Caudron is involved, they just forget that ever happened, because that was a terrible, terrible scene, But I liked his story, and I did like his character, and the actor is fantastic, so I'm going to put him at number 6. Number 5 now, getting into the top 5, number 5 is Ash. Now, Ash is a really interesting character. I actually thought he was one of the better characters this year. I liked his story about Avi. I felt bad when Carol lied to him. I felt really bad for him. The actor really pulled a great performance, especially the scene where he finds out that Carol lied to him and stuff, and he's like, all those memories and those whatever and all the things we shared, it was goddamn fucking meaningless. Like, it was really good the way that he presented his lines. The actor did a great job, and I liked the story that they gave him. I thought he was really good. Was it a bit convenient that he was a pilot? Sure, but I enjoyed his character, and I definitely felt bad for him a lot of the way, and I agreed with him in a lot of areas too. So I definitely would say that he warrants, a spot on here for sure. Now, my number 4 is then going to be Nat. Now, Nat is a great character. Nat, I know it sounds crazy putting him at number 4, but I think objectively, writing-wise, I think he's better than the other characters that I've listed. I just think that he has less, flaws. I get he's a minor character, but I thought he really worked. And with the fan base, I saw a huge outrage when he died, and I know that because he worked that well. He was a great character. And I thought he really was just awesome. I loved his relationship with Michonne. I loved seeing him with his people. I loved the positive energy that he had, but the realistic, approach that he had. He knew how to build things, he knew how to fix things. I mean, he was great, man, honestly. And I disagree with most people. I think that he works as a one-episode character. I don't think you could have brought him along in the story because I don't think he would have served a purpose, but I liked him for that episode, and I think that worked. Speaking of a one-episode character, you guys are probably going to call me insane, but here it goes. Number 3, speaking of another one-episode character, Okafor. Okafor to me is a top 3 material character this year. I thought he was so damn good, and when that actor performed that scene with Andrew Lincoln in that, room and stuff, when he explained bombing Atlanta and, the Los Angeles stuff and the relationship he had with Rick and that thing that he was trying to do to take over from General Beale and explaining things to Rick, and he really just made things clear, you know what I mean? And his actor brought such a charisma to the show. It is honestly the biggest shame out of any death this year on The Walking Dead that he died, because he was so good. I get why he died for the story. I don't flaw it, but I wish he lived because I thought he had so many great elements to him, and the actor, admittedly, in that sequence when he was fighting with Rick, he matched him, if you ask me, when it comes to a performance. He was equally as good in that scene, and that is a rare thing, because Andrew Lincoln is, up here when it comes to acting and performance. So if you get an actor that's that good, yeah, I love it. And what they did with him with the bombing and the potential rivalry that he had built up with General Beale, I mean, yes, it didn't go anywhere, but I liked what they were setting up. The result is another problem. That's why General Beale is not on this list. But I loved Okafor. I really did. I thought he was the best original new character of the spinoffs this year. I thought he was fantastic. Number 2 is then going to go to our boy Daryl Dixon. Got to put him on the list, of course. Number 2. I love Daryl. I always do. He had the great action scenes this year. The relationship with Isabelle, which was a nice, out of his comfort zone for his character. And I liked him in general. I thought, the storyline with him and Laurent, how, much he felt, bad for the kid and trying to get him out of there. Going up against Janae and Lozang in the catacombs. I mean, that was insane. It just all, it really, really was great. Daryl was a freaking badass this season. I mean, he always is, but he really got a lot of the action sequences. Like, he took on, 10 guys in one scene in, a one-shot take. You know what I mean? That is not only great acting from Norman, but it's also just, in general, very impressive stuff and a very, a well-written character. But Daryl's always well-written, so I never worry about that. But, he definitely warrants number 2 this year for me. But, of course, oh my god, and I hope I get to put this character in a list at some point again. But for now, I'm going to enjoy what I got. Number 1, Rick Grimes. Absolutely. Rick Grimes is absolutely the best character this year. Alone for the first episode of The Ones Who Live, he would be. That episode got into his mind so much. I mean, and that's the best episode this season, and this entire year is 101 of Ones Who Live. That was the best episode this year, and Rick is the best character this year. Getting to see Andrew Lincoln back in that role, getting to see what he went through, cutting off his hand, the hallucinations of Michonne, working with Okafor, trying to change the CRM from the inside, not wanting to, trying to go back, escaping so many times over again, until he finally gave up and decided to just, die and live, basically, as he told Michonne. And then he sees Michonne, you know what I mean? And then it just goes from there, escaping with Michonne, the hurt that he feels, the Carl stuff, trying to take down Jadis, trying to save his home, trying to then go back to the CRM to conclude that thing and end it for good. And he did it. And he had a beautiful reunion with his family, and it was just absolutely incredible. I mean, besides the fact that they took on the CRM with the power of love, besides that, I loved everything revolving Rick's character, and I loved what they did all the way through. I thought it was amazing. Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, it's just unmatched in this franchise. That's why I say we need him back, because it just has no sense of that same energy without him around. Andrew Lincoln, you can't match him, man. You just can't. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Who are your favorite characters of The Walking Dead this year? I would love to hear that in the comments from you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, be sure to click to subscribe and so you don't miss any other videos of The Walking Dead. Be sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. Rogue gone mad, TV junkies need a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.